Your dog did something today that you probably ignored again. Maybe it happened in the kitchen, maybe outside the bathroom door, maybe while you were simply walking from one room to another. You took 2 steps and nearly tripped over a tiny shadow that had somehow appeared beneath your feet. Not because your dog wanted food, not because they needed to go outside, not because they were asking to play. They simply wanted to be close enough to touch you. If you've watched our recent video about why Chihuahuas constantly need physical contact, then you already know that this behavior is far deeper than most people realize. What looks like clinginess, what looks like dependence, may actually be one of the oldest love languages ever shared between 2 species. And the story begins with something hidden deep inside the brain, a chemical that neither you nor your dog can see. Yet it may have helped create the strongest friendship in human history. Scientists call it oxytocin. Many people know oxytocin as the love hormone. It appears when a mother holds her newborn child. It rises between people who trust each other. And remarkably, behavioral research has shown that it also appears between dogs and humans. In a groundbreaking 2015 study by Nagasawa and colleagues, researchers discovered something extraordinary. When dogs looked into their owner's eyes for an extended period, oxytocin levels increased in both species. Not just in the dog, in the human too. Think about that for a moment. Your dog looks at you, your brain responds. You smile, you reach down and stroke their fur, their brain responds. They seek even more connection. A biological feedback loop begins. One built not from training, not from commands, but from affection itself. Perhaps you've experienced it without realizing. You're having a difficult day. You sit down on the couch. Your dog climbs beside you. For several minutes, they simply rest against your leg. Nothing dramatic happens, yet somehow you feel calmer, lighter, more grounded. According to multiple studies, reviewed by Beats and colleagues in 2012, interacting with dogs can help reduce cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, while supporting lower blood pressure and heart rate. In other words, your dog may not fully understand your problems, but their presence still changes your biology. And perhaps that is why so many dogs become what behaviorists affectionately call Velcro dogs. Dogs that seem attached to their humans every waking moment. Dogs that follow you from room to room. Dogs that wait outside closed doors. Dogs that somehow appear beneath your feet every single time you move. For some breeds, however, this attachment runs even deeper. Few dogs illustrate this better than the Chihuahua. Imagine weighing only a few pounds. Imagine living in a world where nearly everything around you is larger than you. The couch is enormous. The staircase feels intimidating. Even a cool breeze can feel significant. This is the reality of many Chihuahuas. One reason these little dogs often seek physical contact is surprisingly simple: heat. From a biological perspective, Chihuahuas possess a very high surface area to body mass ratio. In practical terms, this means they lose body heat much faster than larger dogs. Their tiny bodies simply struggle to retain warmth. That trembling many owners notice is often misunderstood. People assume it always means fear. But according to veterinary experts, temperature regulation is frequently a major factor. When a Chihuahua curls into your lap, slides beneath a blanket, or presses tightly against your side, they may be using one of the oldest survival strategies in nature, borrowing warmth from something larger, something safer, something trusted. And warmth is only part of the story. For centuries, Chihuahuas were bred primarily as companion animals. They were never expected to herd sheep, pull sleds, or guard livestock. Their purpose was different. Their job was proximity. Their success depended on staying close to humans, generation after generation, year after year, until being near you became woven into who they are. Researchers also point to a concept known as neoteny, the retention of juvenile characteristics into adulthood. Many Chihuahuas maintain puppy-like dependency signals throughout their lives. Their large eyes, their social attachment, their desire for reassurance. To them, you are not simply the person who fills the food bowl. You are the center of safety itself. But there is an important distinction we need to make, because not every Velcro dog is suffering, and not every clingy dog has separation anxiety. A Velcro dog typically enjoys being close to you when you're home, yet remains relatively calm when you leave. They nap, play, wait patiently. Life continues. A dog with true separation anxiety experiences something very different: panic, distress, sometimes destruction. According to organizations such as the RSPCA and many canine behavior specialists, these dogs may bark continuously, damage doors, chew furniture, or even injure themselves attempting to reunite with their owner. This is not stubbornness. This is fear, real fear, especially among rescue dogs. Many rescued animals carry invisible memories, abandonment, instability, uncertainty, experiences that taught them the people they love can suddenly disappear. When they become intensely attached to a new family, that attachment is often a survival strategy rather than a personality flaw. And sometimes humans unintentionally make things worse, constantly carrying small dogs, responding instantly to every request for attention, never allowing them to solve minor challenges independently. Over time, confidence can shrink, dependence can grow. What begins as affection slowly becomes insecurity. Then one day, something else changes. Age arrives, the ears don't hear quite as well, the eyes no longer see clearly, the world becomes slightly less familiar, slightly more confusing. For senior dogs, physical contact often takes on a completely different meaning. When an older dog rests a paw on your foot or follows you more closely than before, they may not be asking for attention at all. They may simply be checking that their anchor is still there. Some aging dogs even develop canine cognitive dysfunction, often compared to Alzheimer's disease in humans. They can become disoriented, forget routines, lose confidence in places they once knew, and during those moments,
Your scent.
your touch, your presence, may be the most reliable thing left in their world. This is why the goal should never be creating distance. The goal is creating confidence. A healthy dog can love you deeply while still feeling secure alone, teaching stay, teaching place, using enrichment toys, rewarding calm independence. These small exercises help build emotional resilience. Not because we want our dogs to need us less, but because we want them to feel safe even when we are not beside them. And perhaps that brings us to the most beautiful question of all. Who is actually helping whom? Most of us assume we rescued the dog, fed the dog, protected the dog. But science tells a more complicated story. Every glance, every gentle touch, every quiet moment shared on the couch changes both lives. Their heart affects yours, your presence affects theirs. A partnership millions of years in the making. So the next time your little shadow follows you into the kitchen, the next time you nearly trip over that tiny body pressed against your ankles, remember this: you are not witnessing neediness. You are witnessing one of nature's most extraordinary relationships, a bond so powerful that two completely different species learned how to calm each other's hearts. And perhaps that tiny dog beneath your feet is carrying a message we all need to hear. Sometimes love is not spoken. Sometimes love simply stays close enough to touch.